Okay, so I've come out to my backyard now, and I'm set up to start the felting process. What the tools that I have are a curtain, shower curtain to cover my table. I have this that I made out of a shower curtain. It's 1 yard around. The reason it's so big is because there's going to be shrinkage, and when you pull this cat bed up into a dome shape, it's going to take up some bulk on the side. I also have bubble wrap that we'll use, and you'll see me use that. And then I have tulle that will help in the scrubbing and felting process. I have a pitcher full of soapy water right here, another pitcher full of water, and the soapy water helps you to smooth without dragging the fibers all around. You want to smooth it and you want to rough it up, but you don't want to be so rough that you're dragging the fibers and making thin spots and thick spots. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to be pulling apart the fibers, even though you can do all of this on one day and you don't have to let it dry and all that kind of stuff. You do want to pull apart the fibers so that you can pull out any vegetable matter or anything like that. And also it just kind of keeps it from being really clumpy. So I'm going to run through, pull apart the fibers, take out any grass and feathers like that I find, and I'll just put them in a bin for use. So while I was working there, my phone overheated and I had to go inside. I had to put my phone inside. But I kept working out here, and what I've done is I've laid one layer of fleece down pretty much in this direction, and I've used water just to hold it down to keep the breeze from blowing away. Now I'm going to go back and lay another layer down crosswise, like that. Alright, so now I've laid them all crosswise. I've already got soapy water in there, so I'm just going to add some more water. And then the next thing you're going to do is start felting. This is just one side, and we've used about half, maybe a little bit more than half of what we have available. The great part about this is roughing it up is what you're supposed to do. So I'm going to squish it all down. And then you're going to lay the tulle on top and just start felting it. You're just going to start doing this. You're just using your hands. And you just want to felt it. And if you find there's a place that's a little too thin, just add some in there and keep it going. You want to get this all scrambled together. This is what you're never supposed to do with fibers, but you're doing it this time. So my phone overheated again. I kept felting, and this is what I have now. I've flipped it, and you can see here on the edges how the extra has been turned up here. Now there's a few places where it's kind of thin, so I'm going to make sure I make that really thick as I put the fleece on this side. I'm going to go ahead and cover this whole thing with fleece again, overlapping it, felting it, and then we'll move on to the next bit. Alrighty, so I've got the fleece completely covering the disc now on both sides. Now you can see it's still very fluffy here, and I've poured some water over it, and next I'm going to pour some soapy water over it. All of this to make it slick so that I can rub it without disturbing the placement of the fibers, but I can allow the felting action to occur. So what I'm going to be doing here is first just pressing down just to get all of the fibers soapy and wet. And then we're going to start rubbing like this. And we're just going to squish all the fibers. Try not to dreadlock it. It will want to do that. If it wants to do that, just kind of rub it down in there. And then keep rubbing with it. When you get it all flat and all smooth, we're going to roll it up and we're going to roll it back and forth like a log. What I've done now, we finished up all of the felting, and then I rolled it all up inside the shower curtain and tied it, and now we're just out here rolling it, and we're gonna roll it back and forth all over for 20 to 30 minutes. This is boring, tedious work. We've rolled it. I did it for about 15 minutes. Then I took it out. I pulled out the plastic that was on the inside. Remember the disc that was in there? That's gone. It's over there. And then I rubbed all of it to see if it was a nice felt. And it really is. It's really good. So now what we need to do is we need to shock this wool. I am filling the bin here with cold water. I have this one in hot water right here. I have this in hot water. I've roughed it up because we don't have to worry about it now. We want it to get roughed up and we want to get all the soap out of it. So I've roughed it up. I'm leaving it nice in the hot water. I'm going to put it back into the cold water, and we're just going to go back and forth and shock this fabric into shrinking, hopefully. Whew, this has taken some time. So I've washed it. I've rinsed it back and forth in the hot water, hot and cold, and I squeezed it dry. I've got it in the washer right now on spin to spin some of that extra water out. And then the final thing that I'm going to do in the hopes that I can get it to shrink really well is I'm going to put it in one of the mesh bags that we have, and I'm going to dry it on high heat. This is everything that you're taught not to do with wool and yarn. I am doing with this because we want it to felt, we want it to shrink. We want it to be really thick and really sturdy. And the only way we can do that is by really beating up the fibers. So what a hot day out there. My phone has overheated several times, and I'm so sorry that I couldn't show you every process that I used. But the last time you saw our cat cave, it was wet and flat and come out of the dryer. Now, I didn't dry that 100%. I dried it on hot, probably until it was damp to the touch. And that way I could still shape it. If you dry it all the way, it's harder to shape. So what I did then at that point is I stuffed the cat cave with towels, and I stuffed it really tight so that it had a form inside there. Then I took a spritz bottle and I sprayed the wool, just enough to make it damp again on the outside, and I rubbed that. Then I set it out in the sun for about 4 hours and let that thing completely dry. And I'm going to show you what it's like now. So, and I pulled out the towels. And it's soft, but it holds its shape. So there is our cat cave right there. The entrance is offset from the very top. It's a front entrance. I don't know if you can see that very well. See how it's on the side here. It's about 6 inches from the bottom. It has some wrinkles. It has some natural, because there's a variation in the color of the wool on the sheep. There was one dreadlock up here that you can see is very tight in there, but it had one dread sticking off. You could leave that on for a dangle for the cat, but I trimmed that off. It is definitely natural. This product has no dyes. It's a very, very clean and natural process. And the hut itself smells so good because it was washed all during the process. It was washed before, and then that Dawn dish soap during the process just made the fibers really clean. Let me show you how felted it is. You can see that that is a thick felt, and it holds together very well. And our final judge was our kitty cat, Jay. Thank you for joining me. Please feel free to buy the sheep's fleece on my Etsy shop. You probably will need, I'm going to guess, about 2 pounds of unwashed fleece. You might err on the side of caution and buy 3 to be sure that you have plenty. But the fleece that I used was, you saw how large that fleece was. I estimate that was about 6 pounds of unwashed fleece, and I probably used about 1/3 of that. So I would say 2 to 3 pounds of unwashed fleece is what you'll need to do this project. The other thing that I did is I used a 1 yard circle, and doing it again, I will probably use a smaller circle. I'll probably use 2.5 or 2 feet 4 inches, because this is large enough for 2 cats. Very easily 2 cats could go in here and sit. So if you're looking for one for multiple cats, use that 1 yard circle, and that will make you, it'll shrink down to just a little bit bigger than 2 feet in diameter probably. And if you want it to be more like an 18-inch circle, then you can experiment with a 2 foot or 2.5 foot circle. Okay, well, happy felting. I hope you enjoy it. As I make products for your kitty cats, I'll put them out there, and I want you to feel free to take those ideas and run with them. I just hope that you'll go ahead and use that Navajo Churro Wool from the Etsy shop.